to go. It's Officer Ehud Bunny of Shirala, of the mighty Battle Axes of the Most High, coming to you with another Fragrant Friday. Alright. Get all my secondary streams accounted for. Alright. Pray everybody is having a great day of preparation as we go into a double Sabbath. Shalom, a lot see you. Good to see you. Yeah, we're going in today. We're going in today. You're not gonna like it, but it's okay. You gotta deal with it. Shalom, Jeremy Jordan. We're getting everybody the opportunity to come on in. Getting everybody the opportunity to come on in. Oh, what's going on, Brother Bam? Good to see you, man. All praise to the Most High. We do hope indeed that we're able to see you on the Sabbath. Tomorrow night we're going into the new moon feast. So all praises on that. Right? Just getting everybody an opportunity to come on in. Get the secondary screen set up. Everybody can hear me? All right. Well, I tell you, we're dealing with a lot of precursors of being in Jacob's trouble. A lot of precursors, right? We got to ask ourselves, do we understand the people that we're dealing with? Right? Do you know what it means to be a debutizer? Right? Or what self-debutizing means? Right? Debutize is to temporarily grant someone power, like a deputy, right? But it says to temporarily grant someone power, authority, or responsibility to act on your behalf or in your place, right? So that's debutizing. Debutizing, right, is a whole different. If you ever heard of a debutante, right? Because a lot of these heathen like to utilize self-debutization. They're going to speak on your behalf. They know what's best for you, right? And they don't care, right? Let's see here. Just looking for the word. But there's a lot going on this week, right? The whole thing with Carmelo Anthony, right? And Anthony Metcalf, right? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of mixed emotions because he was, of course, they did a railroad trial, kangaroo court, and they hurry up and decided, hey, he's going to be guilty. We're going to give him anywhere between 5 to 99 years in regards to what we say is, premeditated murder, right? But see, the thing is let's go to Exodus 14 and 14. And this is something we have to take into consideration as Israelites. As we walk closer, as y'all come on in, Baba Kushai, hit those like buttons. Come on, let's get these likes up, right? We want to make sure the word of the Most High is spread to the four corners of the earth. We don't want to leave no stone unturned. Shalom, Akwaf Barbie. Shalom, Avis Princess. Shalom to each and every Hebrew and Shebrew in the chat, right? So, class gonna be a little bit more heightened. I'll use that word, right? A little bit more heightened in regards to it, because a lot of our people still feel that there's Edomites or heathen nations out there that are still good, right? They still think so. But my point for going to Exodus 14 and 14 is because you can get out here and march. You can get out here and protest. You can do all the things that the Lord said, hey, don't do it. I got this. Give them enough time with their pride and they're going to trip over their own tongue. Right? The book of Exodus, chapter 14 and 14. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Are we holding our peace? Everybody's saying how they feel online, right? You're making videos, you're doing things of that nature. How many people are praying to the Most High that justice is served? Because partially, justice was served, right? It was cold. It was cold. It was uncalculated. It was, right? And the reason why I say this is because now a lot of the evidence of this actual case is starting to come alive, right? Because we have to ask ourselves, when you put yourself in the trust of, oh yeah, there's some good ones out there, yeah, okay. When they get around their friends, now you just another monkey to them, right? That's what they call us, right? We got 10 watches, 12 watches. Y'all hit those likes. We got 4 likes, so it's either we got scoffers in the cut watching, or everybody haven't hit that like button yet, right? We want to shatter the algorithm today. That's what needs to be said, needs to be heard, right? We have to look at what our children are going into, what we're going into. Shalom, King Asher. Good to see you, bro. Because at the end of the day, if you're not looking at, you're going to get blindsided. You're going to get blindsided, bro. And sis, right? You're going to get blindsided. We know there's no one more cunning, right? More lie intrigued than Esau. How do we know this, right? Let's look at the history that they take pride in. Esau has broken every treaty that they have created, as long as they've created treaties, right? Every treaty, every promise they've made, they've broken. No matter if it's to another country, no matter if it's to his own people, no matter if it's to his own country, Esau has broken every treaty. Every one of them, right? Not one treaty has they kept, right? I stand corrected. They have kept one treaty, right? And what was that treaty? What was that treaty? that was kept? Does anybody know? Does anybody know the treaty? The only treaty that Esau has not broken. I want y'all to think about it for a second. Put it in the chat. All right. What treaty has Esau not broken? Y'all get it. Put it in the chat. All right. Come on. Nothing wrong with saying you don't know. But there's one treaty that they never broke and that they're gonna keep forever. And it's on their spirit to keep it. I'll give y'all a little bit of hint when I say that. All right. Come on. The treaty of perpetual hatred against Jacob. All right? And it's funny because Austin was the name of one of the boys, and his brother was named Hunter, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and 27, right? It says, the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. We don't name our children Hunter. We don't name our children that. They already say we're super predators, super thugs, right? Well, all these negative words and names, right? Shalom, Aquaf Netta. Good to see you, sis, right? Since the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. See how the prophecies come out? Jacob was chilling, right? Carmela was chilling in the tent. Who invited him into the tent? Another Edomite, right? Another Edomite invited him into the tent. He was in there chilling. And while it was in there, because they go to two different schools now, Boston and Carmela go to two different schools, right? Esau was in there with Hunter. So Austin and Hunter was in there. And they had a reputation of being bullies in their town, in the city of Austin, bullying other black children, other Latinos, right? Probably Native Americans. They just had a whole repertoire of bullying them. And this is public knowledge. This isn't no military secret in regards to it. But it's funny how the scriptures say what they say, right? Plain man dwelling in tents. Hey, it's raining. Hey, come on in, buddy. See, just why you can't trust your enemy, right? Because the person that invited the young brother into the tent already knew how he felt about people of his race, because he put it all over his social media, right? Because one thing about a wicked spirit, it operates in pure pride. No matter if it's a wicked Israelite or a wicked heathen, it's going to operate in a spirit of pride. That's going to be the center piece. That's going to be the medallion to their necklace of wickedness, right? It's like you have a necklace that has different links in it. Might be deception, right? Covetousness, envy, right? A lying tongue, all the way around, right? But the medallion, the centerpiece for that sin, always is pride. When you think about most biblical stories, think about what really put people into a rage when that wicked spirit came on them. Let's go to Nicanor, right, as an example. What did he have when he walked into that temple and demanded those priests tell him where Judas Maccabees was? When he pointed his finger about what he was going to do to the temple of the Most High if they did not tell him, right? Shalom, King Judah. He had pride on him. How dare you come into the temple of the Most High and threaten his priests in regards to telling them, if you don't tell me this, I'm going to level this temple to the ground. You and what army, right? But again, when they have their pride creates a hive mind. If you ever watch zombie movies, like how they say, when we're not in the laws, we're not keeping the commandments, we're in sin, right? It's a zombie scenario. They all have the same mind. Our race is better than your race, no matter if we're wrong, right? Even if we're wrong, we're still right. Because we had you under subjection of slavery. We've owned you, right? And they always feel this way, right? This court case is just another example, but I'm utilizing it today to show you how quick Jacob trouble could be blanketed over you in a quick heartbeat. And you would be like, oh, caught off guard. I didn't pay my phone bill. I didn't put gas in my car. I don't have water in my house. When things hit the fan, do you think these same heathens that will, even though you're defending yourself, right? Just like Black Wall Street, where there was men standing on the front yard, saluting themselves who just returned from war, fought side by side with these heathens, was gunned down in their front yard because they wanted what we had created while a lot of them went to war and we weren't allowed to go. So you tell us, hey, you're excluded from this. You can't go. You just stay behind. Be good little boys. And while we're behind, as they thought they left us, right? Shalom, Talazaya, Ariva, right? We built fire stations, libraries, police stations. We created a whole structured situation that didn't include the heathen because we didn't know if they was coming back or not. We didn't know if they were going to make it through that, right? And when they showed up, what did they do? They used the same military tactics they had just used in war. They surrounded Black Wall Street with tires. They set it on fire. They had cars built up so you couldn't get out. And all the smoke was being fanned into the city. Black smoke. Have you ever seen a tire burn? That is, I mean, back then, with the rubber that they use, it was way worse. And you imagine breathing that in with no gas mask. And they just enclosed into the city. They walked into that city, and every Negro person they saw, any Latino, anybody that was not Esau, that was there, they went ahead and eliminated them. No different than when the Pilgrims showed up for the Green Corn Festival, right? All their tactics are the same. They don't change their playbook, right? Okay, we out here, Green Corn Festival, which was the natives' Passover, right? They allowed the Pilgrims to come in with their sad story. We lost. We hungry. We need somewhere to be. Okay, no problem. We'll look out. No issue. We ain't tripping, right? But those who were having a problem, those who said don't trust the paleface, they were silenced, right? Because they weren't the ones making the agreements. Yeah, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. A gift ruins the heart. Come on. They dropped explosives on top of the MOVE movement in Philadelphia from helicopters, right? That was an act of terrorism. But again, they didn't want to do that, right? Shalom, shalom. Malak Yakov, good to see you, King, right? Pray you and your family been doing well, right? Y'all hit that like button as y'all come on in, right? Got 14 people in, 6 likes. So we got some people around here just scoping it out. Might be Esau, who knows? They want to see what it says, right? But we hit these likes for the Most High. We want his word to be spread, right? We want his word to be spread to the 4 corners of the earth where we're scattered, right? But this is the reason why we got to trust in the Most High. This is the reason why we have no other choice but to believe in the Most High. You know why? Because when you don't do it, right, they're going to show up. They're going to play like, hey, I'm innocent. And the next thing you know, you're going to be like Black Wall Street. You're going to be like the Native Americans who allowed the Pilgrims to come in. They should have been on the store line, bow and arrow. No. Y'all keep going. Y'all keep going. Nah, y'all not. The same way when Katrina happened and people were trying to get through the bayou and get to safety, and they told them, hey, Family Guy made a joke about it. Had a black dude in a boat rowing through the swamps, and Kermit the Frog sitting on the log. He says, hey, do you know which way, I think he said Louisiana or Texas is? And he was playing a banjo. He pulled out a shotgun. Said, back where you came from. There were people on the bridge not trying to let people go through. Right? Not trying to let people go through. They show you every time who they are. They don't learn any new tricks. They just learn another way to make you feel bad. Right? Shalom, Don Israel. Good to see you. Right? They learn another way to make you feel bad. And when you start feeling bad, right, you're in a position where you're surrounded. Just like Carmela was in that tent. Shouldn't have been in that tent in the first place. But guess what? Hey, come on in. Bro, come on in. What's up, bro? Gave a little weak little high fives and little daps and stuff. 2 different schools. And it went left fast. Because guess what? Austin was like, hey, what school you go to? All right. And he's like, I go to this school. Oh man. You know, this is how Esau creates these war situations. I went to a school named Plantation. Plantation High. Colors was red, white, and blue. And we had a slave master, which was called the Colonel, for a mascot. But when you in the world, you don't even look at it that deep. When you get out, you're like, dang, we had a slave master, which was a school called Plantation High School. Red, white, and blue was the colors. That's crazy, right? And our rival school was South Plantation. It was gold and purple, right? Like the Lakers color. And they had it was called the Paladins, which was a knight on a horse with a long little jesting tool. And those were our rivals, right? Those were our inner city rivals. Not because we said so. Because my mom graduated from Plantation, right? It's because Esau said so, right? And with doing so, that disdain that we were supposed to be having followed every year. Oh, those are our rivals. Those are our rivals. They're beating it into your head that you have enemies at another school, right? They try to make it seem like it's for jest, but it's not. They're dead serious about it, right? This is why we must stand on the word of the Most High. History has shown us over and over that they don't take our consent into well-being, right? 2 Samuel 22:18. What do we have to look for? Let's see what the scripture says. He delivered me from my strong enemy. Who controls the banks? Who controls the government? Whose face is on the money? Who controls the school systems, right? So they say we always try to play victim, right? We always try to play victim. That's what we do. But when we state the obvious, of, hey, look, we're not getting a fair shake, they'll say, hey, we went to the Civil War to free you. No, you didn't. It was to help the Union. And we had to help out. Because y'all couldn't get it done, right? All the inventions that we made and we tried to get patent, y'all own the patent office. So who stole the inventions? Y'all did, right? Esau is really cunning at playing. He's playing a subliminal victim. He's not going to throw a victim card. He's going to say, look at all the stuff I did for you. That's a victim. That's still victimizing. No different than a boyfriend or girlfriend. They found out somebody's cheating. Oh, I paid your bills. I took you in when you didn't have anything. This, that, and the third, right? Native Americans could have said that, and in fact, they probably did. And guess what? They got silenced. They're put out on a reservation where you can't. If you want to drive up to an Indian reservation to go visit the people, you need permission from Esau. So if your family's there, you still need permission to go onto land that they don't own to see people that are most likely related to you directly. It's not related to them. No different than going into a prison. You got to sign in. You have to meet the protocols to enter into that institution. This is what they're doing to us, right? This is why we have to ask the Most High to deliver us from our strong enemy, because they are strong. They came up with so many different traps and tricks, and they'll say, well, you're playing victim, right? If I'm playing victim, why can't I visit the actual country of my bloodline and stay as long as I want, right? If I want to go to Bahamas, I got to get a passport from Esau, right? And then they're like, you only can stay for 2 weeks. How dare you tell me how long I can stay? If I got money to be there, if I have infrastructure to be there, if I have family that don't mind if I'm there, who are you to tell? Oh, I forgot. You're the person that has their face on the money. You're the person that says, I'm the victim because I speak up in regards to the things that you're doing against us. Why are all our people considered thugs? Why? It's easy to put that title on somebody and then not title yourself with that. You have a lot of people who have their neo-Nazi sympathizers, right? They're not going to get out there and wear the suspenders and shave their head and put a swastika on us, but they're going to operate under the same thought tactics. Yeah, I don't agree with the costume, but I agree with the game plan. It's the same game plan. Surround, smother, stifle, right? Surpass. It's the same thing. We want Black Wall Street. You guys built all this stuff while we were gone. Guess what? We don't believe that you deserve it. So we're going to take it by force. Same thing with the Pilgrims. Oh, y'all got all this land? Y'all got buffaloes? Y'all living good? We got kicked out of our country because, we like to do things that's, unethical, but we can live here because I'm not getting back on that boat. Have some people dead or sick. I don't want to be on that boat, right? They're going to take what's not theirs. It's been that, right? When you look at all the Hollywood movies of who the bullies were, it's Esau. Give me your lunch money, or at 3 o'clock, I'm beating you up, right? That's the tactic of who they become, right? This is why we have to be delivered from the strong enemy and from them that hated me, and for they were too strong for me. We can sit and think that, oh, I'm going to go out here and protest. The scripture's telling you we need to be delivered from this. The strong enemy are from those who hate me, for they were too strong for me, right? Try to get a loan, they said no. Credit score was great, too strong for you. Try to get my child into a school for a better thing, my child's straight A's. They said no, too strong for you. Try to get a house, perfect credit. They say no. The HOA didn't accept you. Too strong for you, right? We have to look at what they're doing. You may say, well, it's not affecting me. Yeah, okay. You say that now. It's real easy to say that because you're not being affected directly. But the Most High is using things in the news every day to show you who your enemy are, right? Because that too strong for you, corrupt legal system, right? Excluding vital facts. So when they said, hey, we got video of Carmelo being assaulted under this tent and everything, oh, no, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. We can admit that. Hey, there's no black jurors on this case. Oh, well, it is. Well, they put on a thing they can't see themselves putting a black person in jail. Did they do that? Have we introduced those jurors outside of that to say, hey, yes, that's what I said. I didn't want to be? No. Because when you're judged in a situation of a trial, it has to be of your own peers. Growing up in the area where you're from and you are a so-called Negro or indigenous Latino or hell, even a Native American, there needs to be some of those people on the jury, right? Not just a bunch of people who have nothing to do with your ethnicity. And again, they're going to say, oh, you guys are playing the victim card, right? But this is why the Lord has to deliver us from our strong enemy. They have all these words that they utilize in a hive mind situation to keep you in that, right? Luke 1:71, right? Because they're going to put it on you. You're playing the victim. You're playing the victim, right? Because we're going to go in. There's a lot of things coming out, right? There's a lot of things coming out day by day. All praises to the Most High, right? All praises to the Most High. This is what Jacob's trouble is going to be like. This is why I said some of you are going to be thrown into prison houses. Some of you are going to be killed, right? Cyrus Mack, unarmed. Hey, you were stealing a water bottle. That's what Moab said. Wop, 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 wop. Went ahead and deleted him in the back. Now, if I had someone break into my home and I discharge a firearm in my home and it hits them in the back and they die from that, I get hit with manslaughter. No matter that they kick the door down, no matter that they attack my household, no matter, you shot them in the back, that's manslaughter. They were fleeing. So this gentleman was fleeing, right? Cyrus Mack, young dude, right? I guess he was taking a bottle of water. Got to teach our children, stay out of these heathen stores now, right? If you ain't got no money, you don't need to be out there. That's how we were growing up. If you don't have no money, you don't need to be going out participating in places where there is no money in your pocket. Because soon as something goes left, they're going to say you tried to steal it. You tried to take it. You tried to do this. You tried to do that, right? But there's police officers in the Dillards, right, 5-7 minutes away from me, because Esau in there stealing the display bottles of the $200-$300 colognes and walking away. Right? Enough pride to get away with. Because guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to try to apprehend him. They're going to let him go. It's Tyler. He wouldn't steal it. Now, when we come through, they swarm on you quick because I watched it. Hey, what you doing? Hey, well, you need some help? They don't say nothing to Esau because they already put it in their pocket. And by the time they come over there, now they know they don't see the display. They see a bunch of Edomites. They're laughing. They're snickering. And they walk away. They don't say, hey, you may have stole that. You know what they do? They hold their peace. Because that might be a councilman's child. That might be a judge's child. That might be a high-ranking officer's child, right? They will basically bow their head and allow them to get away with it, right? But we go in there and spray some cologne on, hey, you can't do that. That's stealing. Wow. It's a tester. Want to see what it smelled like. Oh, no, but that's stealing. Can't do that. Right? That's the thing. When he hit him in the back, they said, oh, no, Mr. Child. No. No, Rick. No. You were the victim. You were the victim. But let's see what Luke 1 and 71 say. It says that we should be saved from our enemies, right? And from the land of Slakia, and from the hand of all that hate us. Why is there a hand of all that hate us? What do you have in a hand? You got skin, so that's their confederation. You got bones. Those are the nations that are striving together to operate as a hand, right? Some nations are the fingernails, overgrown, ready to scrape and rip flesh from our people, right? It says, in the notes, Austin put his hands on Mello first, right? Now, when Mello defended himself, right, it became a problem. Hunter jumped in. That's 2 on 1. And then 4 other boys jumped in as well. So if you ever dealt with a high school rivalry, when it comes to football and stuff like that, those types of things can erupt really quick, right? Those things can erupt really quick. So when he defended himself, other heathens jumped in. Now, what did they do in the court case? They bared false witness and said it was premeditated that he came in the tent. We told him to get out, but then there's witnesses saying we invited him in. Our people got to look at the facts, right? We got to remove emotion, use logic, right? Remove emotion, use logic. If you're gonna be emotional in prayer to the Most High, right? He's gonna wipe away your tears. Be logical when you deal with these kind of situations. Because this could be any of our children. Any of our children, right? They said that Carmelo had a actual, what is it called? It's an actual tool. Let me show you what it looks like. This is what he had. But I keep one in my bag with me, right? It's a multi-tool, right? Everybody's seen one of these. It's a multi-tool. Now, was it this size? I don't know. But let's look at what a multi-tool has, right? Multi-tool has pliers. You can grip something, right? Let's look and see what else is on this multi-tool. A serrated type of knife. Is the blade sharp? Look, I'm running it up and down my finger hard. It's not that sharp, but you have to put pressure. Bottle opener, mini forehead screwdriver. And look, also, what's on here? A little blade, like a knife, right? That's probably like maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches, right? They don't make them super big like that, but they show a pocket knife. You got what is this? It looks like a file of some sort. It's a blunt edge. You got another bottle opener, and I'm not even sure what this is. I guess that's a bottle opener as well. And then you have another file in here. Something you would use. See, right here? Got a little sharp edge, but it's a file, right? See the serrated on it? That's what he had, a multi-tool, right? Now, I don't know about you, right? I don't know about you, right? But if I'm at Walmart and I get into it with somebody over something foolish, right? And next thing you know, I got 6 people beating me Because all it takes is one good lick to the head for you to have a brain bleed. You want to know how I know? Me and my wife, I took my wife to the hospital this week. And basically, when we were in the room getting ready to get discharged, the doctor came in. And he goes, man, did you see why all those cops were here? I said, Edomite. I said, no. I said, we've been in here. We didn't see anything. He goes, a pregnant woman hit her, I guess her child's father, in the head with a bottle. Right? And I said, wow, that's crazy. He goes, yeah, he's not going to live. I said, well, did glass get into his head? Was an artery cut? He goes, no, bleeding on the brain. So you could get hit in the head, right? You can get hit in the head, right? And Sister Barbara, you have to ask yourself, what's too much? Sister Barbara, if you're in the store and you say another woman, right, of another race bumps into you, Sister Barbie, and say, watch where you going. And you say, hey, well, hey, I wasn't trying to do anything. And she pushes you into the shelf. You fall, you hit the ground, right? And you get up to defend yourself. And then her sister comes around the corner. And then the other girls that's in there shopping with them come around the corner. And they're all hitting you and beating on you and stuff like that. If you pull out a can of mace and spray to get them off of you, right? And it permanently blinds one of them, are you doing too much? Are you doing too much? Right? Because the problem is this is why I say you have to take emotion out, put logic in. What do we know about the individuals? One's a straight A student who saved the life of another child. Now, do we know anything outside of that? No, right? But there's a very, very small percentage of super thugs that are almost straight A students, 3.7 grade point average, get ready to graduate and go off to college, right? When you got 6 football players jumping, right? Jumping on one individual, and you're fighting in bleachers, you know how bad that can go. Your legs can get snapped, getting locked in the bleacher, you get knocked back, right? There's a lot that can go wrong. Yeah, you got the complexion for the protection, King Asher. A lot of times it's the complexion for the protection, right? But I said, you're defending yourself. It said Carmelo got up when they was jumping on him, right? And guess what? Got from out of there. Because what most martial arts will teach you, combat operators, right? I mean, Marines, soldiers, and these are Edomites as well as Jacob, right? They all say the same thing. If I'm being jumped on by 6 people, I'm getting out of there. I'm not going to try and sit and fight 6 people if I'm already being pummeled a little bit. So guess what? He ran, right? But when you say it's premeditated, how is it premeditated? If you're invited into a situation, you go, unknowing that somebody's waiting to do something to you, right? You got to look at how these things go. A lot of people haven't been really watching the case. You just been seeing what's been shown on there. There's a lot of evidence that's coming forward. Within the last hour, they're saying that there's evidence of video. The same videos that was actually omitted in court, right? Well, it's not, because I'm going to give you an example, right? I'm in Texas, Slim. There was a boy in my county, in Tarrant County, who, 17-year-old, got behind the wheel of a vehicle intoxicated, got his friends in the car, and he unalived 4 other people, right? Boom, 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 boom. Ran his car right into him. All of them unalive. Do you know what he got? Do you know what they utilized to get him off in court? A phrase that doesn't even exist, right? So probation, right? They gave him 10 months of probation. So that's cool that you like, you know, Negro music. That's cool, right? But you have to be able to look at what's really real, right? When it comes to situations like this, they all in the same way. They all in the same way. It's never any difference, right? There's never any difference. Your people, and I say your people because I don't like to individualize anything. When the Most High judges Israel, the so-called Negroes, Indigenous, Latinos, and Native American, we will be judged as a whole for our deeds. Just like the nation of Esau, which is the nation of Edom, which you represent as a Caucasian male, right, will be judged for all the things that you've done, right? Now, you per se may have never poured sludge into the ocean and killed animals or polluted the sky or poisoned the food, right? But your people have, right? Great question, right? What you want to do on the Sabbath is that is an actual day. It's a holy convocation. So you're supposed to gather with other Israelites. Y'all supposed to feast. That's why we do class and then we eat lunch together. And then we go out to the street to teach, right? So yes, you can rest. If you don't have anyone to congregate with, yes, a day of rest, studying the word. Guess what? I used to fast on the Sabbath. It was brought to my attention, hey, this is a feast day. You're supposed to eat, right? You can pray, right? But you do want to eat something because it's supposed to be a feast day. Cooked food, not allowed. You know? So let's say if you got like fruit, you made yourself like a salad, like a, you know, you can eat cold chicken, like a cold chicken salad. No problem. I in the bar, right? I in the bar. I pray that you subscribe to the channel as well, right? Cold chicken salad. There's a lot of different things that you can eat. It's a light day of eating. But as long as you're eating something and you're thanking the Most High for it, hey, you resting. Because guess what? When we were in the fields, when we were in the situation of Egyptian captivity, right? Persian and Mede captivity, Assyria captivity, right? Roman, Greek captivity. There wasn't no. You couldn't keep it. You couldn't keep the actual Sabbath. They caught you keeping the Sabbath in Greek captivity. They'll put you to death for that, right? You get put to death. So now we have the opportunity. Exactly. There was no rest, right? God, fruit does sound good, but it's a shame that you have to look for one of your Northern Kingdom brothers on the side of the road or a pawpaw at Home Depot who got watermelons that he grew himself, and you might go to the store and pay $4, $5 for a watermelon. No seeds in it though. You go to pawpaw, he gonna charge you 20. You're gonna get a big one, but guess what? It's covered with seeds. You can take all those seeds out and grow your own watermelon patch. So that $20 that you're spending is better than the $4. Because they've done all types of who knows what to this seedless fruits. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. They're giving us AI fruit. Got a little bit of sweetness to it. Right? I seen some mangoes in Walmart this morning. Trash. Them things look like they were just suffering. Now I'm from South Florida. Mangoes about as big as a softball. As big as a baby's football. Right? Big like that. Juicy, got a seed in it, everything. But what they do, they spray things in the air that will kill your outdoor trees, right? Well, you won't get the fruit. These are the things that our enemies do against us. We're not getting in no plane say, oh, let me just fly around and spray a whole bunch of things. We're not messing with no chemicals, right? The most chemicals we may mess with is some roach spray, air freshener. You know what I'm saying? Febreze, things like that. We're not going out here mixing, putting on no chemical mask and mixing up some stuff and say, yeah, I'm going out in Cessna today. I'm going to go spray these crops. We're not doing that. They're not going to let us do it anyway. Right? Y'all hit that like button as y'all come on in, right? They're not going to let us do that. Go to Psalms 38 and 19. This is why, right? This is why. The book of Psalms 38 and 19. But my enemies are lively. They do what the hell they want to do. That's why they got their face on the money. How much pride does it take to say, yeah, I got all the slave masters on the money? They have yet to say, well, these people have done some atrocities. The dude on the $20 bill, Trail of Tears. Do you think they're going to take them off? Nope. George Washington had slaves, stole their teeth out their mouth because he had a mouth full of wooden teeth. Right? Abraham Lincoln, he free to say, no, he didn't. He did what was in his best interest for him to look good. And they try to come with all these different stories on how he was this and that. He wasn't. Esau. Right? Ben Franklin, he invented electricity. No, he didn't. He was outside, high. That's why you get the expression, you being high as a kite. Ben Franklin was out there high on drugs, flying a kite in the middle of a storm. And all of a sudden, he came up with electricity. They have to steal something from somebody else. What are you doing here, boy? What you got going? Well, master, I did this and that. Oh, let me see that. Next thing you know, take that from them. We know Esau doesn't even season their food, but yet Colonel Sanders got all 13 herbs and spices. Why isn't that a tradition upon Edomites? Why are they not the best chicken cookers? Because that's not who they are. They're vagabonds. They're going to steal whatever and imitate it. Right? That's who they are. Right? They're going to impersonate that. There's a Marvel character, right? I don't know if y'all in Marvel like that. I forgot his actual name, but he can imitate every move, every fighting style. He was in, forgot, he wears like a skull on his face, right? He can impersonate every fighting style, and that's what they do. They're vagabonds. They impersonate anything. I own the patent office. You bring me your idea. What do you think I'm going to do? Not Winter Soldier. No. Not Winter Soldier. He impersonates every... I don't want to say it's not Moon Knight. It's not that person. But he can impersonate every single, like, fighting technique. Let's see who can impersonate every move. And this is what made him successful as that, right? His name was Taskmaster, right? Taskmaster. He could look at your fighting style and imitate everything you do. We wear our hat backwards, they wear their hats backwards. We sag our pants, they sag their pants. No way. We get tattoos, they get tattoos. Right? They don't imitate everybody, but they imitate a lot of the people. Right? So we have to look at when we're being impersonated. Hell, Bastard dwells in Ashdod impersonating us, right? But the scriptures are very, very subtle. My enemies are lively. They do what they want to do. They say what they want to say. Now we're the victims. Now we're hurt. All the racist comments that's online right now. Oh, he deserved more time than 35 years, right? It says, my enemies are lively and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. How are they wrongly multiplied, you ask? The father, right? Now this is the crazy part. The father of Austin wasn't even with his wife. He wasn't living in the same house with Austin or Hunter. They were being raised by a single mom, right? They put a gag order on the father for the entire case. Why would you do that, right? They did what was in his best interest because they knew who he was, right? He's friends with the judge, right? Now, mind you, seen the judge on the news last night. They asked him why media couldn't be in there. Oh, you know, we didn't want to do all of that, and it was too much, making a bunch of excuses. But you know what he said right after that? Well, this is my last murder case. I'm retiring in a couple months. Of course, you want to ride off into the sunset. You want to make sure you give one more hurrah for the nation of Edom, right? Because you know after that, well, hey, I'm retired. I got nothing to do with it, right? But the father is friends with the judge and the prosecutor, as well as his family member is the warden at the same facility that Carmelo's been put into. And look what they did. They shaved his head. All of these things are against our customs. They shave his head and they put him in some kind of white thing. They made him look like how Denzel looked at the end of Book of Eli. Right? And what did these heathens get online and say? Oh, he's gonna get sodomized in the jail. He's gonna be someone's girlfriend in the jail. He's gonna be this. He's gonna be that. This is what they're thinking, because the father said he's a straight Christian, right? And that's the whole thing. The father just went on, like a day or two ago, a 3-hour rant on live, right? And it was a racist rant, talking about black people, right? I mean, in the most vile and disgusting way. But I'm going to tell you why it's not vile and disgusting. It's not nothing we haven't heard before. We knew this is the reason why they put him under a gag order. You're going to mess up the case. You get on your drink, you don't know how to hold your mouth. You come out and say this before we win this case, and guess what? It's going to get overturned. But see, the Most High has a way of allowing things to happen. This is the reason why the scriptures say we have to be delivered from a strong enemy. This is the reason why we have to be delivered from a strong enemy. He called Carmelo, and I quote, a watermelon felon. He said he's a watermelon felon. Called the man's mother a B-I-T-C-H. Said the father was a meow. You know the 5-letter word for a meow, for a cat. So he said, you got on your bow tie. You got on, I mean, he just went in. Y'all get a chance, just pull up. Just pull it up. Austin's father, racist rant. Right? We're not going to get justice. They always say justice is served. Esau, that's their word. Liberty and justice for all except the Negroes. Liberty and justice for all except the Native Americans. Liberty and justice for all, not the indigenous Latinos. Everybody else, y'all can get liberty and justice. Them, they 3/5, right? You're right. You're right, Princess Avis, right? There is no justice for us. But we do have the Most High on our side. When we're not keeping these laws, guess what? We're in a position where we can get caught like this, right? They can say all the slick mouth stuff. Oh, if you raised your children better, okay? But there's footage showing that he wasn't the aggressor and he was just trying to get out of the rain, right? This is why the Most High to keep separating us from the other nations. Over and over and over. But guess what? We fall for it every time. Those who are unknowing of who their true Shalom Akwal for Monica, right? We fall for it every time, right? Every time. It says, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. Look at it. Look at all the racial things that Edomites are saying online. If you read the comments, it'll get certain people upset. But you gotta erase the emotion, utilize the logic. This is why you get closer and closer and closer to the Most High, right? You have to, because if you don't get closer to the Most High, and you're not keeping His commandments, right? You're going to fall into the same snare because, look, I'm going to get my favorite precept in Sirach. The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 1. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. Now, did Austin do that? It's not evil. I mean, he's not Israel. So he's going to do exactly what his bloodline did it. Cain deleted Abel, right? You're upset that I brought this for first fruits. You brought secondhand fruit to the Most High, and He didn't respect it. So what do? You had hate in your heart. You had a perpetual hatred, which your people still has to this day, and you shed the blood of an innocent person. And when the Most High asks you, what have you done? You say, oh, am I my brother's keeper? That sounds so Esau. Hey, Mom, get out of my room. I'm on the game. She's such a bitch. You know I'm on Call of Duty. They're going to play Call of Duty all day long. They love it. They love it. Gunning people down, they love it. That's who they are. A cunning hunter, right? A cunning hunter. See, when you have to keep going on and say, well, why are they doing this, right? Verse 20, Psalms 38 and 20. They also that render evil for good are my adversaries, because I follow the thing that is good. What is good? Romans 7 and 12, the law, statutes, and commandments, right? They hate the fact that this boy ran from getting jumped, ran for his life. Coaches already said, yeah, he ran from him. 6 Edomites hawked him down, jumped on him again. And that's how Austin got what he got. Right? And they say, oh, well, it's premeditated. How? If you're running for your life, if there would have been 6 Negroes or 6 indigenous Latinos or 6 Native Americans running down poor little Austin, right? And he pulled out his knife, or he pulled out a gun to defend himself, Esau would have been like, well, it stand your ground. He was standing his ground. It's so funny how the narrative can switch, right? But this shows you who they are. They're going to smile, hey, how you doing? I was in the store the other day, and the dude brought up the whole thing. I mean, it's not like, a kid stabbing another kid at a track meet. And he said it, right? And I just looked at him, because that's what I expect Esau to say. Yeah? Keep your hands to yourself. And guess what I was also taught as a child? If somebody hits you, you hit them back. Yeah. Eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. You don't go start nothing, but guess what? You make sure you defend yourself. If we're out there on the street, if somebody comes up and strikes us, you're going down. I always say this at camp, and any of the soldiers or the officers will tell you, or the captains. When they come up doing all that threatening, I tell them, I say, hey, we don't play two-hand touch and flag football over here. It's not what we play over here. And they look at me, and I'm looking you dead in your face. We don't play two-hand touch football over here. We don't. I'm giving you a subliminal, subtle warning, letting you know you come over here doing something, we will defend ourselves. We're not here looking for trouble. We're here looking for our people in trouble. to give them the scriptures that help get them out of that. We're here to plant seeds. We're not here to get into any kind of altercations, but we will defend ourselves, right? That's one thing, and that's a problem for Esau when we defend ourselves. Go to Job. Go over to Job 8:22, Father Kusha. All right? The book of Job, chapter 8:22 says, "They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame." All of these things are now coming out. The Father's making this racist rant. Now there's proof. There's more witnesses coming forth saying, hey, they jumped on that boy. When they're asking the judge, why weren't there any people that was of his own peers for the actual witness or the jury, right? All of these things are now, well, the judge is like, well, I'm about to retire. I'm not going to retry the case. You take this to appellate court, it'll get reversed if it's the will of the Lord. But like I said, the scriptures tell you, the scriptures tell you that in these days, some of us are going to lose our life. Some of us are going to be thrown in prison houses. Is there a calling? Calling what? Now, we don't do the whole calling. This is a lesson that's written in scriptures, and we're just having a dialogue. So there's no calling. Now, on Sundays, Captain Benaniyah does a 4-hour question and answer. But if it's a simple question, I answer it. But if it's something that we want to, challenge a theory or go back and forth in regards to something, guess what? On Sunday, you can give a call in and go through that, right? Jay Johnson, right? So let me ask you a question. Based on what you know, Jay, right? That I'm not going to assume your ethnicity, and when I ask people what their ethnicity is, a lot of times they don't want to answer. Not sure why, but they don't want to answer, right? Do you believe that if it was 6 African Americans, as y'all call us, that was jumping on one individual Caucasian, and he ran for his life, and they ran him down and was jumping on him again, and he took out something to defend himself, and it caused one of them to lose their life, right? What do you call that? Premeditated or self-defense? I just want to know. Self-defense or premeditation? All we did was take the facts that we do know, and we put the shoe on the other foot. Because they said that Carmelo was premeditated. But see, there's more information that comes out because you can't hide from the eyes of the Most High. You can't. No matter how much you scrub an account, somebody screenshotted it. Because you have to remember, Austin was considered a bully to his own people, to other black people in his school, in his town, in his city. It was a reputation that he had. Him and Hunter terrorized people, right? On a bully level, right? I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to do what I want to do because I don't feel like I have to operate under that. Because there's a term that Esau uses, right? That story that I brought up earlier about the Edomite who got in a car for his friends, 17, completely intoxicated, and he unalived 4 to 5 other people. 4 to 5, not 45, 4 to 5, maybe 4, maybe 5, with his vehicle. He got 10 months of probation for that. Not a year of jail, not prison, nothing. If you get caught riding intoxicated, you go to jail. He got 10 months of probation. 4 people lost their life, but he got 10 months of probation for that, right? 10 months. Nah, you didn't disrespect. That's why I asked you a question. I just asked you a question. If it was 6 Negroes running down a Caucasian boy, they jumped on him already, right? They done boom, bop, the bop. He done got out of there. Boom, he's running for his life. They done hawked him down, jumping on him again, and he took out something to defend himself, a pencil, a pen, something sharp, and he punctured one of the assailants, right? And that person died from that 2-inch wound. Would that be premeditated? That the Caucasian did that premeditated? Or would that be self-defense? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. I want to remove the emotion out of this situation and utilize straight logic. Because this is how men are supposed to think. We're supposed to eliminate the emotion and utilize logic, right? Exactly. So if it's self-defense, right? Why did they say that the brother Carmelo Anthony acted in premeditation? These are the things that are being said, but there's no public outcry, right? Because they'll say, oh, well, you were honest enough to say it's self-defense, right? But how is it not self-defense for him? There's video footage, right? The judge said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You got coaches that were like, I saw what happened in full. Witnesses, I don't need to hear from them. Let's exclude them, right? Why is all of that being done? And then we say that justice was served. Well, this scripture that I was just reading, Job 8:22, explains it. It says, they hate thee, right? They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught, right? Exactly. That's exactly what they did, right? They clothed themselves in the shame. Now it's like they know that there's footage out there showing that, but guess what? Because the father is friends, right? The father is friends with the prosecutor and the judge. Is, hey, I know you're not going to let my boy just die like that. He's a savage. He's a, what did he call him? A watermelon felon. Right? That's what he called him. Straight A student, just saved the life of another person a couple of months ago. Get ready to graduate high school. Right? These are the things that we get put into. We're this, we're that, we're this, we're that. Ooh, come on, man. If that's the case, if it was premeditated, he would have walked in the tent. Because he didn't know Austin up until that point, right? He didn't know him, right? But what most people don't know is Austin made a point that day, right? He made a point online on the social media. I'm going to read what he said. That Austin posted a racist post saying, I dare one of these monkeys to show up to the track meet today. He had a picture of a pistol in his hand, right? And an AR, fully decked out, optic sight, everything, you name it. Flashlight on the seat. These weapons was in his vehicle. Now in Texas, yeah, you can carry weapons. It's open carry state. You can have those. It's legally okay. But when you put that, I dare one of these monkeys to show up to the track meet today, you are basically creating a premeditation right there. You're looking for somebody that you don't have a respect for, nor do you care about, because you have a history and a track record, no pun intended, of bullying Negroes, right? Other whites, Latinos, whoever you can get your hands on, you're going to do it. But in the area that you're in, you're running across more Negroes, right? Come on. He got on there and made that post. But guess what? His legal team thought that they scrubbed it. But this is how the Most High works. You ever get out the shower, you done scrubbed yourself, you've been in a hot shower for the longest, you get out the shower and you rub yourself, and there's still dirt coming off your skin. You got to get back in the shower again, right? So you've been cutting grass or doing something where you done got completely dirty. You don't get all the dirt off. The father went on a 3-hour rant. They had to put a gag order on this dude before this. He couldn't talk about anything until after the case was over with. You know why? Because he's going to go on this rant. talking about how much he hates black people, how much he hates this, how much he hates that when it comes to our people, right? But he says he's a Christian man, right? But all the things he said didn't sound nowhere near Christian. That's why we let you know Christianity is a man-made religion, right? Of course, right? They said that there was an actual like welts on his face from being jumped, and they said that they went ahead and went in and basically utilized computer software to make his face look normal. Because if you would have been up there with a black eye, right, that would have brought questions in, right? They would have brought questions in. Well, why does he look beat up like that? Oh, so did he get jumped for real? No, they wanted him to make it seem like he had no marks, no type of any type of injuries whatsoever. But this again is that crafty counsel. This is why. Go to Psalms 109. This is why, right? The scriptures say what they say. And this is why we have to trust completely in the Lord, right? Because these self-debutizing spirits, they wish to rule over you. They want your child on TikTok doing the dances. Can't read, right? Can't read, can't write, can't spell, right? And I look at it like this, it don't matter. Left wing, right wing, same bird. Don't matter which side, right? No matter if it's Republican or Democrat. They all have the same agenda, right? They're all the same people. They just believe in certain different things. One side believes in full-off war, right? One side believes in being sneaky and tactical and clandestine in regards to how they bring about their war, right? One side is gun-ho in regards to guns. The other side is abortion heavy, right? Same bird, same destructive vulture that operates, right? Psalms 109, verse 29. It says, let my adversaries be clothed with shame. Let them cover themselves with their own confusion as with a mantle. Now, when these videos are coming out, now when this evidence is coming out, now when these questions are being asked, they're being covered in shame. Now they're becoming in shame. Now they want to move on to the next story. Let's not talk about this no more. He's in jail for 35 years. That's the end of it. Right? That's what they want to do. So when you're saying I'm an Israelite, I'm keeping the laws of the Most High. I'm not keeping Thanksgiving. I'm not keeping Christmas. I'm not keeping 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. I'm not keeping any of that. When you say that, they're going to be like, oh, you're un-American. You're denouncing your citizenship. We got to throw you in prison. Right? That's going to be the next thing. Right? My child, right, doesn't go to a regular school. I had to take him out of there. Right? Homeschool. But guess what they want us to do? We want your child to be injected with foreign things. So we have to get the actual documentation that says, no, we ain't got to do that. We ain't got to do that. But they don't look at it like that. They look at it as, well, why not? Why can't we let them get poked in pride, right? Because that's the whole thing of control. We remember how y'all put syphilis in people. We remember all the different things that were done through the syringe system, right? We see that. But this is where the confusion comes in that becomes their mantle. Because now when the video is shown of Carmelo running, trying to get away, being hawked down by Hunter, by Austin, 4 of the boys, they all on him. They on his head, they on him, right? They're not going to have anything to say. They're going to say, oh, well, you know, it's premeditated. He did that, right? The judge refused for that information to be used in the court case. Why? Because, hey, I'm done in a couple of months. I'm out of here. I'm retiring. I don't need all of that. I don't want it being drawn out. I don't want to be responsible for allowing this Negro boy to walk free under the realm of self-defense, because I have too many people who I'm friends with who that's not going to sit well with once I retire. You know how these small town situations go. Your daddy owns a distillery with whiskey, but the other family across town, he wants that distillery. He comes over to your family's house and say, "Oh, can I buy it from you?" You're like, "No." Next thing you know, that whole distillery just magically gets caught on fire. You lose all your product. This is small town tactics. They show them in the movies. They show them in the sitcoms. They show how they operate, right? God, you're right. They can't do right. Because they have only kept one treaty out of all the treaties. And that was perpetual hatred against the seed of Jacob. That's the only treaty that they kept. Out of every treaty that they were going to, hey, I'm going to hate them forever, ever, ever, ever. Ain't nothing going to stop me from feeling the way that I do. That's how they operate, right? See, we have to keep going, because it's not just with the Austin situation, right? See, it reached ahead. Go to Zechariah. Y'all already know what precept I'm going to pull, right? We go to Zechariah, right? They don't want to hear the facts. You can have all the facts in the world. Esau's pride is going to overwhelm those facts. You say, "Oh, well, you know," right? But we have to look at how this works, right? Because Rick Chow, again, unalived Cyrus Mack in the back over a bottle of water that he put back. And see, that shouldn't even rhyme, but it did. You know? Shot him in the back. That's supposed to be automatic manslaughter. But what do they say? Oh, no. We're gonna let good old Rick Chow off. Right? There's more of them unaliving our children, putting their hands on our women. And guess what? Y'all still doing business with them? Didn't they just come out and say, "I dare you to boycott the Moabites, the Amorites, the Asian people? We dare you to do it. We don't need your money." We're keeping their beauty supply stores open. Esau not going in there buying what they don't call it weave or extensions. They call it personality pieces. That's what they call it, right? Zechariah 11:5, it says, "Who possessions slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not." Right? Our possessors slay us. You still in the water. Put it down. He put it down. Try to leave. He chased the boy and licked off shots in the boy back. Boy didn't have a weapon, didn't have a gun, didn't pose as a threat. How much was that bottle of water? Wholesale, 28 cents. Right? Wholesale, 28 cents. So this shows you right now, the more and more, right? No charges. None. Right? But we know why. Psalms 83, verse 3. It says, they have taken They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right? God. That's what they're doing. They've taken the crafty counsel. Whole Psalm 83, we coming back. Hold that, right? Jump over, let me get the precept. Jump over to Psalms 31 and 13. I want you to see something. The book of Psalms, chapter 31 and 13, right? It says, For I have heard the slander of many, right? Watermelon felon, right? These super predators, they're thugs, they're animals, right? He's going to get sodomized in jail, right? He's going to get sodomized in jail, right? This is what they're hoping for. This is what they're praying for, but this is a child, right? But when we say there's none as wicked as Esau, they'll say, oh, you're playing the victim. You're wishing another male to be raped by another male in the crooked injustice prison industry. Yeah, of course the statue of justice is blindfolded because she ain't see none of it. They didn't even allow women to give their opinion up to a certain point, right? They didn't even allow women to give their opinion. But guess what? Christianity, when they come out there to the street, they'll say, where your women at? Why are you worried about them? Oh, you don't allow them to teach or talk or this, that, whatever. You don't even allow them to be out here. This is a war zone. You could walk up and try to unalive everybody. We want our women and children in the midst of that? No. Yeah, it's blindfolded when it's convenience. I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing. And then guess what? She got that blindfold tied on like a bandana when it come to us like Rambo. Yep. We are the main characters, right? We are in, like if you ever played a lot of these video games, you know, you're in a waiting room. You ever been in a Zoom call? Get added to a meeting? You're in a waiting room of Jacob's trouble. You're in a waiting room. They're quick to say, y'all on welfare. This is what the father said. Y'all on welfare. Y'all baby mamas and this, that, the other. And y'all on EBT. 42% of EBT users are Caucasian. 42, the highest percentage. Right? Why isn't it the Negroes? Because a lot of us don't even qualify for it because they changed the rules so we can't even get it no more. Who can get it? Esau. But yet they use that and say, oh, you still on food stamps. You still on welfare. You got all these children, right? But they turn a blind eye to the trailer parks where Bubba's out there with his sister popping them out under the rule of incest. That's okay with them, right? That's okay with them. But again, this is why the scripture says, I have heard the slander of many of the heathens, right? It says fear was on every side. They surrounded us the same way they surrounded Carmelo in that tent, right? They heard the slander. I'm daring a monkey to show up today. I got my AR. I got my 2011, the flashlight, my green dot with some hollow tips in it, ready to put a monkey down. This is what he's posting. There was all kind of videos and stuff with him bragging about his weapons and stuff. His legal team scrubbed that. They got into the account, scrubbed it. Made it seem like he never made the post. But you have to remember, people like things. And it's always in an algorithm. All of that stuff can get pulled. You can't erase nothing offline. You can't. Once you post it on Facebook, once you post it on Instagram, it's there forever. They can scrub it and say, look, there's nothing on this page. This is the crafty counsel that they're taking against you. They think people are dumb. Well, I don't see it, so I guess it's not there. You didn't catch them. That's how they do it. Con. Least there be any fornicator or profane person is Esau. Right? Hebrews 12:6, great precept. But like this one says, I have heard, this is the Psalms 31:13, I have heard the slander of many. Oh, he deserves it. He needs more time. He needs the death sentence, right? Fear was on every side. While they took counsel together against me, they devised to take away my life. That's what they do. Exactly. John Morant, you got a pistol in the car or what looks like a pistol. We're going to take all your money. We're going to take you away from this. We're going to suspend you for that, right? But he can get online It says, I dare one of you monkeys to show up to the trap meet today. And then that same day, had those weapons in the car, that same day, the Mossad took him. Let's just call it what it is, right? A 2-inch wound isn't really deep. It's a defensive wound. Now, if it was multiple wounds, right, that looks rageful. It wasn't. One wound. He died from that. Because the Most High doesn't need a lot. He don't need a whole army to defeat tyrants, right? You don't need that. When he got jabbed, right? Didn't even know it. They still plumbering the boy, right? One little oop, and he's still getting socked on. They still beating him up, right? Guess what? The Most High said, I'm just going to go ahead and take you. I don't need you here, right? I'm going to go ahead and that's going to be the end of it, right? The Most High could have had the doctor save Austin, but he didn't. He said, no, I don't need him. Got him out of there, right? Got him out of there. Because they devised to take our lives, bro. They don't just want us. They try to poison us through food, medication, all this other stuff. They want the children, the Avengers, those who's going to want to take a vengeance for what has been done to their people. We're the children of Jacob. They see how we operate. They want to get it out of there. They want to get it out of there. They don't want us to have that. Kyrie posts about knowing that he, Hebrew roots. Hey, what do y'all think about this? Punished. You bet not talk about that. Bill Cosby wanted to help the Native Americans when they was attacking the burial ground to run an oil pipeline through there. Throw them in prison, put some hose on them. Literally. Not the water hose. Just put some hose on them. 40 years ago. People he probably don't even remember. All of this happened at the Playboy Mansion, right? Hugh Hefner, he dead. We can't hold it on him. We're not going to put it on his estate. We're going to put it on good old Bill. We're going to take back the educational status that he earned. See how they can strip you? None of this stuff means nothing. Keeping the commandments means everything. You can have all the degrees in the world, they can strip them all from you. You can have all the accolades in the world, they can strip them from you. Keeping these commandments, they can't strip your salvation unless you allow them. They can't, right? Let's go back. Right? Psalms 83 and verse 4, right? It says, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's what they love that, right? They want to cut us off. They don't want us to keep the commandments. They don't want us to be under the laws. They know that the Most High is going to fight for us. They know what Judah 5:19-20 says. They know that if we do what we're supposed to do, the Most High is going to fight for us. But they don't want, hey, we can get them to do everything else but that, then we can keep them off of that, right? Let's look at this precept, right? Let's cut them off from being a nation. That way the name of Israel, right? Ain't going to be no more. So they thought. Go to Psalms 2 and 2, right? Start at 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Why was the daddy so mad? Right? You wasn't even in the house with Austin. He was being raised under a single parent household. The same thing you tried to get on there and say that's how the blacks living. That's how your children was living. Y'all didn't even live together. His wife was either separated or divorced from him because of the way that he acts. Right? The only way we can love the Lord is by keeping his commandments. We have to move emotion out of the way and use logic. Until we start operating under that alone, we're not going to get anywhere, right? We're not going to get anywhere. We're going to keep running into the same occurrences over and over and over. Got to teach your children not to be so emotional. Logic, right? Boxers, right? If you boxing, any combat sport, when you're angry and you're emotional, you cannot focus and concentrate. You can't. You're going to go out there and get mollywopped and boombox. Easy. Because you can't focus. Logic is focus. Okay, I'm going to slip this jab. He keeps dropping his hand. Here comes the hook. Logic. Save that emotion for later. Save that emotion to praise the Most High. Bottle that emotion up to give thanks to the Most High for another day of life. Not using emotion to allow you to be effeminate as a man or to be irrational as a woman. Because that's what they say our people is. Our women are loud, boisterous, irrational, weave-wearing bed wenches. Our men are predators, thugs, illiterate, can't do nothing but sell drugs and have a bunch of babies who they don't take care of. They've already put stereotypes on us, right? They've already taken that whole thing of imagining vain things. Those are the vain things that they imagine against us, right? Verse 2, it says, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Right? They want to take counsel. They don't want you keeping the commandments of the Lord. They're taking counsel against that. Let's take the prayer out of the school. They don't need to be praying. Right? Let's do that. Let's keep that going, right? Because they want to remove the post of the weapons. They want to remove the post of the threats. They want to remove that. They want to clean it up, right? They want Austin to look like he's not a straight-A student. He didn't save nobody's life. He has a reputation in that town of being a bully. Mello didn't have that. Dwelleth in tents, right? And when you dwell in a tent with your enemy, this is what you get, right? Let's go back. Psalms 83:5. They have consulted together with one consent. He's guilty. Let's give him life. 5 to 99 years, right? One consent. They are confederate against thee. That's exactly what they're doing, right? Austin brought the same weapon that he had online talking about, I'm looking for a monkey. He brought that to attract me. Now, why does he have weapons on school grounds at 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it was, right? It's supposed to be illegal to do that, right? It's supposed to be illegal to do that. But again, guess what? He operates under, there's a term that they came up with. It's called affluenza, AFFLUEZA disease. It's a plea. It's the same one used when that boy unalived those victims when he got behind the wheel drunk and got 10 months of probation after taking 4 lives. Everybody in the car was all right, but not those 4 people that he ran into, right? Created a very horrific scene. He only got 10 months. You know what the defense attorney for him, because his family had money, they said he has affluenza disease, right? And they said, well, what is that? What's that, right? It says, rich children who are not taught the reality of their actions, feeling entitled and unresponsible due to a wealthy upbringing. This is the self-debutante. Like you have a debutante event, they dress them up, they got their families got money, right? Yeah, it's hot out here. It's definitely hot out here, right? But it's getting hotter for the children of Israel. Because if they can come up with a made-up disease to get somebody 10 months of probation that deserve to actually go to prison for what they're doing, because if any other drunk driver, right, you driving down the wrong side of the road and you hit somebody and it's vehicular homicide, you are going to prison, sir. You're going to jail, madam. That's where you're going. You're not getting 10 minutes of probation and then you're done. You're not getting that. But guess what? When you have the complexion for the protection, they're going to look the other direction. I'll say it again. When you got the complexion for protection, they're going to look the other direction. Trust me, they will, right? Trust me, they will, right? He got no jail time, right? Drunk driver. Killed 4 people. 10 months. Right here in Tarrant County. 10 months. That's it. He had the affluenza. His family's so rich that he doesn't understand, that his wealthy upbringing, it doesn't allow you to be above the law. He thought he was above the law. That's why he did it. And they let him off. Okay, I'm going to give him 10 months of probation. Hey, buddy, you need to learn. You can't just do those things. That's bad. Right? Let one of us look intoxicated. You going to jail. We see the videos all the time. Right? Not even sure if his father's a judge. They usually are, right? That's what that Psalms 2:2 said, what it said. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together. Hey, I'm getting my boy off. I'm getting my nephew off. I'm getting my cousin off. I'm getting a friend of my family off. I'm getting them out of there. But then they'll say, you guys are playing the victim. When the information comes out, oh, don't worry about that. You're playing the victim. Go to John 12:10. I want y'all to see something. And this spirit's been here. It's been on people, right? This is when Lazarus got brought back from the dead. This is that spirit of hate and pride that be jumping from people to people, person to person, right? The book of St. John, chapter 12, verse 10, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 9 and give it just a little bit of context, right? It says, much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there. And who was the he? Yahushua, right? And they came not for Yahushua's sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also, whom he had raised from the dead. It says, but the chief priests consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death, because that by reason of him many of the Jews went away and believed on Jesus. That's why they wanted to put Lazarus back to death. Right? Yeah. That white supremacy. That, oh, you guys are playing the victim when you call them out. But guess what? Austin decided that he was gonna any monkeys that showed up to the trap meet, as he posted. Right? He didn't think somebody was gonna screenshot that actual post. Because you have to remember, when you have victims out there, there's people that's using these posts so they can go to law enforcement and say, yeah, he has these weapons. He pulled up on me and aimed a gun at me. Right? Remember how Big Boy pulled up on T.I. brother in ATL? He was out there drinking that milk. Boom! He made him spill it all over himself. You know how they do it. Ride up just like in Boys in the Hood. He rolled down that back window. He had that double-barrel shotgun on him. Mark, Buster, and rolled off. These people was emulating that, right? They were emulating that. And guess what? You got your own people. Go to Proverbs 14 and 20. Because I've been seeing videos where people are like, oh, well, he shouldn't have did it. He went too far. So you defend yourself and you sock somebody in the face and you think, oh, I KO'd him. I'm getting them off me. So they jumping on you, they lumping you out, and you get off one good hit, and that person stumble and fall, and they hit their head. You don't know. You done ran off. And then the police come put you in cuffs and say, hey, you killed somebody. They had complete brain trauma. Just like the woman who was at the hospital, when me and my wife was there, she hit her child's father with a bottle and created a brain bleed. And they said he ain't gonna make it. And she's pregnant and had 2 other children. And he was like, it's sad. So sad. Right? I said, die. It don't take much licks to the head to be out of there. So you sit there and let somebody jump on you and jump you and stomp you out, a good kick to the head, you could be done or have medical conditions for the rest of your life because you sat there and took that. He tried to get up out of there. They chased him down. He tried to get him up off of me, and guess what? That's a problem for them, right? That's exactly the precept I'm reading, right? Proverbs 14 and 20. It simply says, this is where they get the super coons come out, right? They say, look, the poor is hated even of his own neighbor, right? Oh, he shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did that. So he should have just let him beat him? Yeah, let him beat him. He's just a beating. He played football. He's gotten worse. Wow. But if your child was getting beat, would you let it happen? They know they wouldn't. They know they wouldn't, right? They know they wouldn't. And so it says the poor is hated even of his own neighbor. It says, but the rich have many friends. I'm going to call in this judge. I'm going to call in this prosecutor. I'm going to get them to cut out the media. I'm going to get them to cut down on the jury selection. I'm going to get them to omit information, right? Like Charleston White said, I told them to get a white lawyer. And the white lawyer told them to stand down. And a lot of the information they had, guess what? They went to court and they just laid down. I was going to become a junior partner in a law firm when I was in Florida when I was younger. I've watched them go into the chambers of a judge and say, hey, I let you get off on the last case when that guy was supposed to be doing 20 years. You owe me. Oh, man, get him to take 2 or 3. Nah, I need him to be scot-free. And this person could be completely guilty. Guess what? Scot-free. And the judge ain't doing nothing. He looking the other way. Are we playing? Hey, we're going to tee off this week? They want to go play golf together. And I was just like, wow. Right? Wow. That's how the actual legal system works. Once they go into judge chambers, anything goes on in there. Right? The defender of Carmelo Anthony, Austin's prosecutor that was helping him, his defense attorney, all of them went into the office together and said, hey, we know each other, bro. Just do this. Let's get this monkey out of here. My nephew's not here anymore. My cousin's not here, whomever. And then now the family member is over the actual facility that Carmelo's in. You don't think his life is could be in danger? Y'all throw a prayer for the brother. Right? Pray that he repent for what he did, right? If you feel that he's in some type of sin for defending himself, right? But you throw out those fervent prayers in regards to the Most High works in the way that is his will. And when I say his will, I'm talking about the will of the Most High. This is what we're not doing because we want to put too much emotion and it overclouds your logic. Look at things logically. We know how Esau going to play it, right? We know how a lot of our people gonna play it. They're gonna be like, I'm taking the side of Esau because I got a snow bunny. If it ain't snowing, I ain't going. They got one of those situations, so they don't want to seem overly biased, right? Micah 3 and 2, right? It says, who hate the good, right? And love the evil? Who pluck off their skin from off them and their flesh from off their bones? Who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them? They break their bones and chop them up in pieces as for a pot and flesh with the cauldron, right? We got to look at how these overseers, right? Because they're going to say, you're playing the victim. You're playing the victim, right? When you separate yourself, oh, you're being racist. You're being racist. We know you don't want us around, so we don't want to deal with you. So now because we don't want to deal with you for our own sakes, right? Now we're the bad guy, right? We're the bad guy. But see, the thing is they don't know what their identity is, right? Go over to the book of Psalms. We're almost out of here. The book of Psalms 53. And we're going to go straight to it. 53 and verse 4. It says, have the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Right? These people that are coming out being overly racist, this is who they are. But they'll tell you that you're the victim, but they're saying the most racist things they can say. Right? It's saying the most racist thing. These workers of iniquity have no knowledge, right? It says, who eat up my people as they eat bread. They have not called upon God, right? They have not called upon God. You know why? Because they don't know him. They weren't given the precepts. It wasn't given the opportunity to be with the Most High. And they'll say, well, that sounds racist. That's not true. Oh, it's not? Let's get the proof. All you got to do is get the proof. Psalms 147 and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Guess the Lord is racist, because he didn't show his statutes to nobody else but Jacob. And he says he don't deal with any other nation. That sounds racist, doesn't it? But you'll say, God can't be like that. He loves the nation of Israel. He don't love nobody else. He doesn't have to. He's not entitled to do so, right? And I make this little joke every time. Esau going to try and get to the Most High and say, we're building the Tower of Babel. I'm going to give the Lord a piece of my mind, right? How dare you? I bet not get to heaven and find out he's black. I bet not this and that. How dare you? What do you mean I got to be servants and handmaids? So what if I put a little slime in the water, a little smog in the air, deleted a couple of animals to where they don't exist no more? So what? What's the big deal about it? Why does it matter, right? This is the pride that's dependent of their necklace of iniquity, right? That's what it is, right? Because the scriptures clearly told us what not to do, right? This is going to be my last precept for this class. And I'm going to get a law afternoons so that way you can gather the things that you need, right? Well, it says I'm live, so I don't know if it bounced off and came back. But I'm going to get this precept and then get a law, and then we out. The book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10, right? It says, never trust thy enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching. I'm a Christian. My son was assaulted. I forgive him and all this, but now he's a watermelon felon. His mom is a black female dog. His father is a nickname for a feline, 5-letter nickname, started with a P. Oh, he had on his bow tie and his glasses. What is she supposed to be? A Black Panther? Maybe one of them. He has so much to say. But we know that though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, beware of him, and that thou should be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away, right? Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith, right? Who will pity the charmer that biddeth with the serpent, or any such that come nigh unto wild beasts, right? So you have to look at that. Carmelo should have said, nah, I don't see nobody I really know in there. I'm chilling, right? But this is how the Most High works. That's how the Most High works. He's in the tent. The pride of Esau couldn't help himself. He decided he had to put hands on him, right? He had decided, I'm going to do this. Him and his brother, Hunter, decided they're going to hunt him down, even though he ran, right? And guess what? Now, Austin is no longer, because the Most High decided. Not a 2-inch wound from a multi-tool, right? One puncture. Got him. He had a pocket knife. Well, I tell you, the Most High decided to do that. And when I was on some of these comments that they were just saying, like I said, the Most High took his life. Oh, you're trying to blame God. How? Again with the scripture. The Lord killeth, Lord maketh alive. I said, it's a 2-inch wound. Why didn't the Most High allow him to live? Because he didn't want him to. They can't deal with that. When you say that to them, it crushes them. You know why? They don't have a connection with the Most High. They don't have a relationship with the Most High. With them, everything is about take, rule, conquer, right? That's what it's about, right? We have to look at who our enemies is. The Most High showed us. He's giving it to us every day. These other nations don't care for us at all, right? They don't. They never will. That's just the way that it was created. We got to deal with it. We need to fix the breaches amongst our own people, right? We're so quick to write off our own nation, our own people. Well, I don't mess with her. I don't deal with him. He owe me money. I don't like the way she looked at me. I'm not going to deal with her. We got to let go of the emotion and tap into the logic of the Lord. And if you don't do so, you're going to be a prime target once the actual Jacob's trouble kicks off in a way, right? You better get some training, mentally, physically, right? Make sure you get your house in order. Because if you don't, your neighbors are not going to open the door for you. And a lot of them might be the same color as you, same ethnicity. They're not going to open the door for you. Y'all ain't got no water. Y'all ain't got nothing to eat. And you best believe they will beat your door down if they know that you holding water, food, provisions, and rations. They'll be ready to knock your door in. So you better be locked and stopped. I'll say that, right? But you got to have the Most High first. You got to listen for his voice. His sheep hear his voice, right? His sheep hear his voice. We have to make sure, because I'm going to get Leviticus 19 and 11, right? It says, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. The Most High gave us this law because he knows the heathens do. They do that, no problem, right? They do that to each other, no problem. He created us to be better than that. Better to live on that nation, right? Better to live like that, right? And that's the whole thing. We have to make sure we understand this land is defiled. It's up to you to do thus said the Lord, right? It's up to you to put your emotions to the side and put the Lord's logic first. The Lord's watching you. Why do you think you got an angel with a pen, a diamond pen that writes down? There's no erasing it. It's getting written down. When they open that book of life and that book of the law, when you get judgment, all that stuff that's written down, you're going to have to be accountable for that. Why not make it into heaven for a small infraction? Right? If you're not in jail and you're listening to the sound of my voice, that means you can keep over 2,000 laws of the actual city or county or state that you're in. Don't deny yourself the kingdom because you couldn't keep a law because of emotions, man. Don't let emotions keep you out the kingdom, man. Because when Christ come back, he's not coming back emotional. He's coming back logically. Who doesn't have the mark on? Bring them hither. Right? Luke 19:27. Slay them at my feet. Y'all think Christ coming back? He's not coming back with high fives. If you see how hard he was on the disciples, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the high priest, he wasn't playing. He never was. He's his father's child. Right? pray that you were edified in this lesson, as I was, right? Stay vigilant. The devil requires each and every one of you, right? God, give a mighty call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Akim, Wa Akwatim, Shema Yapalon, Thawada Yahweh, right? Because you have to be able to throw up those paleo prayers, right? Abad, Call, Shayal, Adawam, Macha, Babakusha, 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 Abba. Anash, Mazari, Wa Dawar, Nawash, Ayan, Ma, Makasha, La, Yasharala. Destroy all of Edom quick. Please, Father, punish the seed and the generation. Forget not the offense to Yasharala. Is what I said, right? Also, my wife La Adawam, Wa Mazari. Extermination to Edom and all their seed. These are the prayers that you have to throw up in the paleo, right? Got to learn you some paleo if you can. Ask the Most High to put it on your spirit to guide you in that. But first, you want to make sure that you have control of your emotions and actual focus of your logic. These two things will help you keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Because the Lord dealt in logic. Yahweh, the Most High, the Ancient of Days, deals in logic. Keep my commandments and live. Don't keep my commandments and no longer. Real simple. There's no emotion in that whatsoever, right? Christ wasn't on the cross cursing at you. I can't believe y'all niggas put me up here. Oh, you gonna give me vinegar? Wait till I see you. Oh, you gonna stab me in the side like that? All right, wait, bet. The Most High didn't have, the Yahweh didn't have that on his spirit. We just went over that, me and Captain Jerubbaal. Christ didn't have no revengeful mind or anything. He's just like, all right, that's what you do? Okay, no problem. Because he knows when his Father allows him to bring judgment, all of that stuff's going to come up. You're going to have to pay for it, right? Again, I beg you guys, put that emotion to the side and put that logic up, man. Get that logic up. That's going to help you keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Get ready for the Sabbath coming in. We'll have a double Sabbath because we got a new moon, right? So tonight to Saturday night is the regular Sabbath. Then, as the sun sets tomorrow, that begins new moon. No buying, no selling, right? You can still cook on new moon. You cannot cook Friday to Saturday night, but you can cook Saturday to Sunday night. You just can't buy, sell, or trade, right? So there's no buying or selling or trading for 2 days once the sun drops, right? Use your logic. Most High gave you commandments, gave you laws that he didn't give anybody else. Make the Most High proud of who he chose, right? Who he awoke, right? And again, I want to give a Kwam Yasharala, a call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Akim Wa Akwatim Shemaya Bahachat. Right? Peace and love to all of your households. This evening, it's going to either be the Mighty Officer Razatakia or the Mighty Officer Donovan, right? And again, I'm just a humble servant of the Most High. Officer Ehud Bani Asherallah, I'm nothing without the Most High, without his law, statutes, and commandments. I'm just a humble servant, right? Trying to make sure that I'm not a filthy rag in the sight of my Father. With that, give y'all a shalom.